Today we're going to take a look at how do you do sine, cosine, tangent, and inverse sine, cosine, tangent on your calculator on your iPhone. So first of all, this right here is your calculator button. So we'd start with that. So here's our calculator, and these are our basic functions. But to find our sine, cosine, and tangent, we want to turn it to the side. Now we get a whole lot more functions. So there they are. We've got sine, cosine, and tangent. And don't worry about these down here for now. These are hyperbolic functions. You'll get to that later. But right now, for triangle, trig, and more, these will do. So unlike your TI, whatever you have, which is the one that looks like this, where you can punch things in kind of all in a row. If I want to do 5 times the sine of 30, I would simply punch in 5 times the sine of 30, and it would show it to me in my window. And I'd maybe close that parentheses and press enter and have my answer. Okay, but in our iPhone, we have to do it almost basically backward. We'd start with our angle, and so we'd punch in 30, and then we'd tell it we want to take the sine of it. So we would press sine, and then we would multiply it by 5, and that would be our answer. Now, one thing to note, 30, that's a degree measurement. And so your default in this calculator is always degrees. But let's say instead the problem was in radians. This button right down here that says rad, that's short for radians. So if I needed to do a problem in radians, not degrees, I would start by pressing rad, and it would show up here, and that would let me know I'm working in radians. Then when I need to go back to working in degrees, you'll notice the rad key now says dig or degree. And so I would just press that, and it's not going to show it to you up here because it's its default. Now, let's say we want to go in the other direction. Let's say we have side ratios of 5 to 10, and we need to know the inverse sine of 5 to 10. Well, just like on your TI, whatever, we have a second button, and that gets us more functions. So when I press the second button, I reveal my inverse sine, inverse cos, inverse tan. That -1, that's not sine to the -1, that's the inverse sine, which means the angle whose sine is. So for example, if I had that side ratio of 5 to 10, I would do 5 divided by 10, or I could just punch in 0.5 if my brain were functioning. And then I would take the inverse sine of that and find out that that's 30 degrees. And again, if I need my problem in radians, I would switch my calculator to radian mode. I would do my 5 over 10, and then I would take my inverse sine of it, and that's the answer in radians. Okay, so that is how to use your iPhone to do your trigonometry homework or test if they run out of calculators or something. Okay, take a look at my other videos in the series of trigonometry. Check out the playlist of Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, and keep on mathing.